Your mind, taken from the new City Freak controller. 9:12.
You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
All right, the best ideas are free. It's true. It's true, I tell you now. And to tell us more about ideas and thoughts this morning and innovations and whatnot, it is Ben Young from Bwaggy.com, B-W-A-G-Y, and Twitter.com/Bwaggy. G'day to you, Ben. How are you?
Good morning. Quite good.
Oh, microphone on. It's one of those Monday mornings. There you go. Got
Hey,
you.
I'm good. Weekend was really, really nice up here in Auckland. Hot weather all throughout.
Didn't get yourself into any mischief?
No, we had the flat Christmas yesterday, and I flat with a Colombian, Irish people, and someone from Germany, German. So we all have different takes on Christmas, so that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So kind of, what's your Christmas tradition? This is ours, and then someone brought up World War II. So
Don't mention the war.
yeah.
Oh, very cool.
No, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. You didn't get yourself into sort of Tiger Woods type situations.
Of course not.
Because even though people are sick of hearing about it, because it's always in the in the news headlines and everything, people are still just talking about it, aren't they?
Yeah,
talking about it,
I think
about how a person can fall from grace like that.
I think someone like Tiger Woods, you build up like this public persona of them. You think, because you're really good at this, you must be an excellent family man, you must be all these things. And the reality is, maybe their close friends and family, and they most likely did, knew about this.
Yeah.
But all the messages that we see from big celebrities is through the PR people.
Yeah.
It's like when Britney Spears wants to go to a nightclub, her publicist lets the journos know so they can follow her.
Have you got any, can you think of any other examples of...
Well, I actually watched a documentary on Martin Streel in the last weekend. So Martin Streel is the guy that he swam the Amazon a couple of years ago, which is an amazing feat. He beat his own world record by like 30 or 40%. Before that, he swam the Yangtze.
Yeah.
And
insane, which is very polluted.
Yeah, well...
quite nasty.
They had shots when he was swimming the Yangtze, and they had dead bodies floating past him as he was swimming.
Wow.
So I think it's the most polluted river in the world.
Yeah.
And he's also swam the Danube and the Mississippi. But it was interesting to watch this, because I remember watching the press as he swam the Amazon. I was like, this guy's a legend. I'd love to be able to do that. And people were saying, like, there's all this risk of parasites. It's surprising he hasn't been eaten. I think it was 80 days. It was an incredible amount of time that he swam it day in, day out. He didn't stop. But the real story behind it, this documentary, his son put it together, and his son's like his support person. He kind of keeps it all going, organises the medics, someone to navigate, hires the boat. He talks to the press, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the real story behind Martin is that he's from Slovenia, and he drinks a lot. He's quite overweight. He drinks, drives. Even his son admitted it. He says Slovenia has one of the highest rates of drink driving in Europe, and his dad
drinks and swims.
Yeah. Drinking and swimming. But so you have this perception, like, here's this legend, like he must be an Iron Man, he must train all the time. He does train quite a bit, but when you see the real picture behind it, whilst he's swimming, he drinks 2 bottles of wine a day, sips on whiskey, and so you kind of, it's like the Tiger Woods situation. You're like, really good at golfing, this guy must work out all the time, look after his family, really good with his finances, donate to charity. But this guy was the real epiphany of it. Isn't
it true that people who excel at certain things, particularly sports, are often people of extremes? I remember having Steve Gurney here in the Kiwi studio, and he took out the coast to coast umpteenth times, and he admitted himself in his book that he was particularly a nasty individual at times because he was just so self-absorbed.
I think that does happen if you seriously focus on something for long enough. I think it was about halfway or 2/3 of the way through the swim, Martin, he just went crazy. He couldn't talk to anyone. He had to be spoon-fed. He was so focused on accomplishing that goal. He'd pushed his body way past its limits. Within 12 days, the doctor said, your blood pressure's too high to do this. About halfway through, the doctor said, we need you to sign a liability because we think you're going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
He was so far in the zone that he couldn't really talk to anyone.
Right.
And all he wanted to do was swim day and night.
Yeah.
So I think that hugely intense focus, you do need to drop other things. You're like, okay, maybe I can't socialise or look after my family
or be a nice person.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a compromise you want to make, but I think if you're intensely focusing on something like this, something has to give.
Yeah. Do we need to know that that the successful people, whatever field they're in, they do have the same flaws, they still don't sit on the same toilet as everyone else?
I think as human beings we like to have our heroes. And we kind of paint people in that light anyway. See some celebrities like Martha Stewart with her tax evasion. People came down on her heavy for that, but she recovered from that, and that's because I think we want to have these heroes, and I don't personally, but people see Martha Stewart as a hero. So even though she's done something, I want to paint it in a good light and kind of keep up that almost illusion. Like we need our superheroes, and I think that's what people see with like Martin Strel. He's a superhero. Who else could swim day in day out for that long and swim the whole Amazon?
Yeah, it's funny. I personally don't. I don't put that many people, or it's particularly I don't put any sports people on any kind of pedestal or any kind of. I don't idolise anyone in a sporting field.
Why is that? Do you think?
Just.
Do you more idolise, say, like business people or inventors or like philosophers? Or
I do. Yeah.
And why is that? Do you think it's more like, for example, with swimming, everyone knows how to swim.
Well, I don't.
Yeah. but you know, it's not a new science, but maybe a new business model or inventing something new is completely new. Yeah. Is that potentially why you respect them a little bit more? Or?
I perhaps ideas, thinking, I suppose, and just fresh perspectives. Yeah, I guess.
I really admire people that really push the boundaries, not just a little bit, like they just thump it. Like they just wallop whatever the world record was.
I like anyone who turns on a light for me, you know?
Yeah. Where you're like, no, that's not possible. Then someone does it. And you're like, well, that's incredible that they did that. But had they not done that, I'd still think you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Hey, let's quickly while we've still got time, move on to what we're talking about next. Now, you brought a bottle of water into the Kiwi studio.
Yes, we've got Wurld water here. That's Wurld with a U. Mm-hmm. Now, Wurld water it's a new form of bottled water in New Zealand. It's a charity set up to sell bottled water, and the aim is to help the 1 in 6 people worldwide that don't have access to fresh, clean water every day get access to that. Right. So the first way of chipping that goal off is to sell bottled water to Kiwis. So it's in a cornstarch bottle, so it's biodegradable. It's just like every other plain water. It's sourced in New Zealand.
But it looks like plastic to me. I mean, it looks like the same plastic as say, the pump bottle.
Well, it looks exactly the same, but the argument is, if we look at the whole water market in New Zealand, there's a strong argument against people buying bottled water.
Because the water that comes out of our taps is fine and perfect enough.
But the reality is, people do buy bottled water.
They shouldn't, in my opinion.
Yeah. But if they are buying bottled water, the other extreme is, let's get them off that habit. But revolutionary change, it's not often that it happens or happens quite successful.
The bottled water thing only happened in the last sort of 15 years. Yeah. Before that, it was Evian, and that was about it. And that was special occasions for some reason. And now it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Fills up all the Coke fridges. I don't get it. But and it's all going into landfills and whatnot. Okay, you say this one's biodegradable, but I still don't see the need for bottled water in New Zealand.
Yeah, but I think it's more about hitting consumers at the right place at the right time. I agree, like, we get fresh water from the taps, and everyone should encourage that. I think there's filtered water projects going on in New Zealand at the moment, so that you can get filtered water out in public. But when you have something, and it's the same with cars, we're massive polluters. The idea of electric cars has been around, like, one of the first cars was an electric car, but people can't make that leap straight away. So little things like the Prius, it's a hybrid. Sure, it's a little step, and when people came out, there was a lot of criticism saying, well, it's not the answer. But if you look at the flow and effects from that, now suddenly having a hybrid car is much more the norm than it was.
So how is this particular product going to wean us off?
So I think this is a step in the right direction. It lowers the bar so that suddenly everyone should be using cornstarch bottles, which, again, if you look at the overall picture and where it's going, that's an improvement. And then the idea that the profits are helping people in other parts of the world
Yeah.
get access to fresh, clean water. When you buy pump water, where are the profits going to that?
Coke.
Yeah. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it's not the best case scenario, but it's a step in the right direction, and I'm really proud that it's a Kiwi company behind it.
Okay. Is there a website people can check
Yeah,
out?
wurld.org.nz. That's WURLD.org.nz. Check it out.
Cool. Thanks very much, Ben.
Cool.
Ben Young at Bwaggy, bwagy.com, and twitter.com/Bwaggy. Until